For great Pokemon TCG product and prices, check out ccgcastle.com.
What's up, guys? Adam here, and for today's Deck Tech Thursday, I'm going to be profiling Turbo Darkrai. Now, this is going to be very similar to the Turbo Darkrai list that did extremely well in the most recent Georgia Regionals, though I did change just a couple of cards that just to suit my liking better, but it works really well just the same. So, without delay, gonna get right into it. Of course, we're going to start off here with 4 copies of Darkrai EX. For the attack Dark Pulse, 2 colors, does 20 damage, and does 20 more damage for each dark energy attached to all your Pokemon. So similar to Gardevoir's Brilliant Arrow, though not as powerful, but coming from a basic, and technically only needs 1 energy attachment. So pretty good in those remarks. And being dark type, weak to fighting is pretty good, since other than Zygarde, at the moment there's not really too much fighting out there, so there's not too much of a chance of you running into a weakness with this deck. And next up here, we run 2 copies of Yveltal Oblivion Wing. Now this one, as you guys can imagine, is just to get your dark energy from your discard back to your Pokemon. And 30 for a single dark's not the worst either. Could definitely come in handy in bad situations. Next up here, of course, is 2 copies of the Meta himself, Bboc EX. Now, hopefully with the Roaring Skies reprints, this card will drop in price. And if it does, pick it up right then and then, guys, because I promise you, it may drop, but not for long. I'd say maybe a month or 2 at the most. I say this card's going to stay at a lower price than usual, but yeah, so enough about the Shaman stuff, sorry about that. And last but not least, for Pokemon, we run 1 copy of Hoopa just to search off our Darkrai's and our Shamans. And believe it or not, this is it for the Pokemon lineup. This part I kept entirely based upon the winning list. So, just gonna put those to the side. And next up are the supporters. So, of course, with any deck, we run 4 copies of Professor Sycamore, along with 3 copies of N. Now, supporters lineups might change a little bit once Sun and Moon comes out, because let's face it, Kukui and Lily are pretty dang good cards, not gonna lie. However, I still feel that we're gonna have Professor Sycamore and N decks. Like, they're good to put in as staples as one-ofs, I believe, but they don't replace N and Sycamore. So, even with this, sorry about that. The reason me explain that is because, yeah, you're going to change the deck up a little bit once Sun and Moon hits, especially Kukui with this deck's going to help it greatly, but again, they don't replace Professor Sycamore, and so you're still going to see these in decks. And another supporter you're still going to absolutely see is going to be 2 copies of Lysander. Just being able to bring up one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that's like damaged or something in that nature is just really good. Alright, next up for support is going to be my one-ofs here. 1 Hex Maniac, 1 Center Lady, 1 Delinquent, and 1 Team Flagrant. So, the Delinquent was my idea to add in, just as a little way to disrupt your opponent, but other than the Delinquent, everything else you guys see here is according to the winning list. Hex Maniac is an amazing card. I personally feel that in most decks, if they don't run guard, they should have at least 1, if not 2. Certainly, I can understand why the player put that in there. Pretty good card to have. Healing 60 in a special condition, especially since we are getting more poison and burn stuff come Sun and Moon. Certainly, I feel might see a little bit more play. And Team Flare Grunts, just to disrupt your opponent a little bit as far as their energy goes, can really come in handy in tight situations. So, that will do it for my supporter line. Let me just pick all these up here. And we're going to go into our item count, which there's quite a bit here. So we're going to start it with our standard stuff here. First off, we have 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Probably the most basic card in the game that every deck, well, other than Greninja, should have. Along with 4 copies of VS Seeker. Hopefully we get that card reprinted in one of those more Sun and Moon set eras, because VS Seeker to me has just become way too good not to have. Been so useful. Alright. Next up, we have 3 copies of Trainer's Mail, just to help search off any of your trainers that you may need. And honestly, at first, I thought 4 was the way to go, but I was testing a lot of stuff with 3 and even 2. Trainer's Mail is just, it's not that it's getting bad, it's just players are realizing that it's not as crucial as we thought because of the fact that how half the time you would just draw into what you needed anyway, and a Trainer's Mail can be blank. All right, just a quick little spit of knowledge for you all. Next up, we run 2 copies of EXP Share, along with 2 copies of Fighting Fury Belts. Now, I personally completely agree with this part of the list right here. So everything you see so far is part of that list, but this especially I really agreed with. Especially EXP Share, because I know a lot of these decks will only run 1 EXP Share, but the fact that this guy ran 2, I really do agree with, because it's so good for this. Being able to save your Dark Energy, even though yes, you have the Oblivion Wing, Yveltal to get it back if necessary, you don't want to like rely on the Yveltal, because it's still an attack for turn instead of an attack with Dark Pulse you could be using that with. So the less Oblivion Wing you have to do, the better. Alright, and speaking of speeding up energy, we also have 4 copies of Max Elixir. Probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to this kind of deck, to where you look at the top 6, get out any basic energy you see and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. So crucial in this deck. You cannot run any less than 4 Max Elixir in a Darkrai deck. Alright, next up for switching cards, we have 2 copies of Escape Rope and 1 copy of Switch. A little bit strange to list, but I understand why he did it, because a lot of your Pokemon here, minus the Shaman, have a retreat cost of at least 2, which, especially since there's no double colorless in this deck and Dark Energy is crucial, you really don't want to waste that as far as retreating goes. So those I could definitely see. And the last item here we're going to be running is going to be a Super Rod. Now that was my own original idea to have in the deck that the player did not, because in my opinion, Super Rod is just way too good in a deck like this. Being able to recycle your Pokemon and your energy, at least, like I said, in my opinion, it's critical for that. But I'm not exactly arguing with it either, because I mean, it gave results, and as I say, you can never really argue with results. But I personally feel that Super Rod would benefit the deck much more. Now, originally, the person also did have 1 Enhanced Hammer and 1, what was it called? Tip of my tongue. 1 Enhanced Hammer and 1 Floatstone. There we go. Which I could get the Floatstone if he ran more of it, but just me personally, I don't see Floatstone as just 1 in any deck. It's always at minimum 2, if not 3. And the Enhanced Hammer, if he, again, same thing with a Floatstone, if he ran more of it, I can understand. But that's just me. If you guys want to put that stuff in and go in his deck list, that is completely okay. Alright, and I got off topic there, sorry. And just gonna move these aside a little bit to make room for our stadiums. You run 2 copies of Reverse Valley along with 1 copy of Parallel City. Now in his list he has 1 Parallel City and 2 Silent Lab, which perfectly fine. It's not that I don't disagree. It's not that I disagree with the Silent Lab. It's just for this kind of a deck, Reverse Valley would be so much better, because especially with the turbo version of Darkrai, yeah, it's really good, but it's not the dragon version to where you could do so much damage with just 1 attachment. And you don't really have to worry too much about the extra 10. As for Turbo Darkrai, I personally feel that that extra 10 can be crucial, especially since you only have the basic Dark Energy to rely on. Parallel City just is becoming like a standard stadium in just about every deck now. Being able to not only minimize your bench, which gets rid of Hoopas and Shamans you have just sitting there, to being able to weaken your opponent, because let's face it, Greninja and Volcanion are super popular right now. Not to mention it also covers Grass, which, oh boy, Grass is definitely going to see some play come Sun and Moon. That little Rancis GX though, my goodness, that's so broken. Alright, but enough me rambling on that. That will do it for our item count. As I said, there was quite a bit of items in this deck. And as far as our energy goes, like I said, it's all dark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Quite a bit of dark energy, but every single one of this is absolutely needed for the deck, since, like I said, the whole attack of Darkrai Dark Pulse is all based on dark energy. So I've even seen some lists with 13 dark energy. A lot, but you want to make sure you get into your energy at all times. So there you guys have it. That is my take on Turbo Darkrai. And as I said, it is a really, really good deck. Almost dropped us on the floor there, but luckily I have got a wit of steel. There we go. And was able to catch them. So once again, that's my take on Dark Pulse Darkrai. Turbo Darkrai. Wow, why did I say Dark Pulse? Yeah, my tongue's everywhere today. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are new to the channel. And stick around tomorrow where I take on Professor K's Yveltal Garb deck. And whew, man, can I finally get a win here? Or will my losing streak continue? Because I know some of you guys like to see me lose, but some of you are really hoping I get a win. And for those of you who are hoping I get a win, and thank you all so much. And for those of you who want me to lose, well, gonna try not to lose. But hey, if I do, that's more enjoying for you, I guess. So everyone wins at some point. So, alright, this has been M with the Pokemon Evolutionaries, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.